What does Star Wars: A New Hope, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs, Inglourious Basterds, and The Dark Knight all have in common? That's what I want to talk about today. And the reason this came about and why I'm doing the video is because I got Vecna Eye of Ruin. Now listen, I'm a collector, so I'm going to collect most of what 5e has. Not everything they have is trash, and not everything they have is good. I was hopeful for this, being that is going to be kind of this world expanding type of thing. And, I'm probably just going to strip this for parts. But the main reason that I don't like this has to do with the fact is that Vecna is not very scary. He's not presented as very scary. He's not very threatening. And so for me to run an adventure for my players, I would have to do some work on making Vecna scary and relevant again, because other than Stranger Things, nobody under a certain age is going to know who Vecna is, and you have to reintroduce him. I mean, it's been what, 2 years, 3 years since the last Stranger Things, and anybody that's gotten into the hobby since then that has not watched Stranger Things has no idea who Vecna is. So I wanted to present my idea on how to make not only Vecna, but other big bads, other villains, other threats important to both my players and your players. But before I get into that today, if you're brand new to the channel, thank you for coming in. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for being a part today. I usually put up a video every week, and it's usually about how to help new GMs run epic games. But I also throw some videos in there for everyone, whether that's about maps or a review or something like that. So if that's your jam and you want something like this in your box every week, go ahead and click the subscribe button. In my last video, the 7 proactive habits of D&D players, and you can watch that right over here if you want to watch that if you didn't get to see it, I chose a winner for the book Proactive Role-Playing, and the winner of this book right here is The Roxant. So listen, The Roxant, you just hit me up via email, and I will go ahead and get your information and be happy to mail this book out to you. So thanks for watching, thanks for being a subscriber, thanks for the thumbs up, and I look forward to sending you your book. Now, for this video, I'm going to do another giveaway. This is another book given to me by the good folks over at Media Lab Books. I'm giving away Villains, Minions, and Their Tactics. And I've done a review of this. If you want to take a look at it, I'll put a link right up above over here somewhere. You can check out this video, but I'm going to give this book away in this video. So, because we're talking about villains. So if you're interested in winning the book, all you have to do is be a subscriber, leave a comment, like the video, and then I'll do a drawing in my next video, and you'll find out then who is the winner of the Villains, Minions, and Their Tactics. Okay? All right, so let's carry on. So like I said earlier, the world ending in this book, right? It's supposed to motivate the players and their characters to get involved in this. And like I said, I fell a little short in reading the opening chapter and saying, why would my players want to do this? And I even got the pre-adventure to this, and it was fine if you're doing a learn to play or something like that. But even in that pre-adventure, there was nothing in it that would make players say, we got to stop this guy. And because it is world ending, like all worlds, like all the worlds of D&D, here's my thought. Here's how I would do it. And what I would like to do as a DM, I would like to have players play different characters from different worlds. Like I want somebody from Dragonlance. If that world's going away, they have a stake in it. I want somebody from the Forgotten Realms. I want somebody from Birthright. I want somebody from Dark Sun. I want somebody from every one of those universes. And you can play it. I would say, look, you could play it in 5e. Each of them could be statted to a 5e character sheet. Or you could go old school and play first edition, second edition, Shadow Dark, whatever you want to play. But I think it would be fun that unique distinctiveness that since each world is in peril, there are heroes from each of those places that have a stake in this. Now back to my earlier question. What do Star Wars: A New Hope, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs, Inglourious Basterds, and The Dark Knight all have in common? They all have villains who come out at the beginning of the movie, show you how terrible they are, and tell you what they want. So in Star Wars, within minutes of the movie opening, you know who Darth Vader is and what he wants and what he is willing to do to get it. In Jaws, at the beginning of the movie, you see Jaws doing Jaws things, and it made millions of people, including myself, rethink going into the ocean. In Silence of the Lambs, although Buffalo Bill himself is not on screen, his handiwork is through newspaper clippings, and he is a violent psychopath who needs to be caught. Who wants to catch him? FBI agent Clarice Starling. Then you have Christopher Waltz playing Hans Landa, the Jew hunter. He sits with a farmer telling him he is seeking Jews that are being hid. And Hans probably has an idea that there's a Jew being held in that farmer's house. And in this scene, you know who Hans is, what he does, and by his own admission, why he does it so well. He does not lift a finger to make the farmer confess. And yet that farmer confesses. That is real fear. In The Dark Knight, in the first scene, the Joker, Heath Ledger, shows you what makes him tick, what makes him so dangerous, and why he should be feared. And that first scene pays off when Joker burns all that money that he stole, which tells me don't trifle with a man who doesn't care about money. So what would I do then to fix this adventure? How would I make Vecna a threat again? Well, I would go back to Vecna Lives. And Vecna Lives is an adventure that does a better job of describing in the opening first 2 pages of how bad Vecna is. In fact, let me read just a little bit from the opening page, where Vecna is taking a town by siege, and he has all the mayors and magistrates and so forth, and he is giving them a talking to. Listen to how this plays out. Our sagacious master replied to the barons, "We advise and even beg you to accept the terms they offer." But the whispered one did not listen. That very day, the mangonels and the war wizards were set up outside the walls. The assault went on for about 5 hours, and then the wizened lord broke the walls of Fleeth with a wave of his hand. By the dawn, the heads of citizens were stacked before the burghers. Their own wives and children stared at them foremost. This was the humor of Vecna and his final cruelty. He allowed these burghers to depart in peace and guaranteed their safety for the remainder of their sorrowful lives. From the Chronicle of Secret Times by Juhas of Naheli. Now, if your players' characters hear this, at the beginning of the adventure, they think, Vecna's a scumbag. He is a terrible person. He most certainly needs to be stopped, because just on pure merit of his badness, forget about the world ending. This guy's just bad and needs to be put down. And in that first chapter, the adventurers could find this out at a graveyard that they visit. They could visit historians. They could talk to the intellectuals there that are in Waterdeep as they get their kind of plans together. Or the characters could be relatives of those who were there during that time. Maybe they are descendants of the burghers, and they have kept this vengeance, this fire and passion for retribution going all this time. It's been a story that's been passed down from generation to generation. So the motivation to stop Vecna is built into the characters, and you've dedicated your lives to stopping Vecna. You see, the worst thing your player characters can feel towards Vecna or any big bad threat in your game is nothing. Strong big bad openings help your player characters shed their ambivalence and their apathy. For me, I would mine Vecna Lives for all the juicy evil parts and scatter them throughout Eve of Ruin. Or I just run players through Vecna Lives and then fast forward the timeline with the descendants of those characters picking up the mantle to fight Vecna once again. How you introduce your big bag to your player characters will determine their level of passion as to why they want to go on the adventure, or their desperate need to go onto this adventure, and to stop whatever this big bad is doing. Yes, for the universal implications, but maybe also for the personal implications, the thing that they carry with them, that drives them. And I think that makes for a more interesting game. And dare I say, even a more epic game. But those are my thoughts. You tell me, what do you do to introduce your big bad to get your players more invested on going on the adventure, to stopping the big bad? What are some things you've done that made your player characters so angry that they said, "Oh, this has to stop. This person has to go"? But I also want to recommend one more resource for you, and that is the complete book of villains, right here. And this is from Advanced D&D 2nd edition. And so if you would like something like this has a lot of great advice for building your big bads and making them far more interesting, far more deadly, and far more provoking, to the point where your players are going to say, we got to stop that guy. But that's it for today's video. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a part. And I'll see you guys in the next video.